We have a huge show today. Huge. You just mentioned Aaron Judge will be on the show. Also, can you just give me a shout out, like a Ric Flair shout out?
Woo!
Like, ooh, I wasn't prepared. I wasn't ready for you to do that. I love you. I didn't know you were kidding. I didn't know you had it in you. It was guttural. It came from here.
Yeah. Let's hear you go. Let's hear your Ric Flair.
Woo! No.
Yeah. I wanted more. I was looking for more out of you there. Okay. Guess what? We're going to start the show with some NBA news. As I just mentioned, league sources are telling ESPN that the Suns are finalizing a deal that would send Eric Bledsoe to the Bucks with the big man Greg Monroe and a pair of draft picks. Bledsoe was the Suns' second leading scorer last season. Of course, the team has been shopping him since sending him home 2 weeks ago after he tweeted, "I don't want to be here."
All right, so Wendy, what can you add to this?
Yeah, so the Bucks were one of the first teams to call the Suns when they made Eric Bledsoe available on the trade market. Their initial asking price was very high. They wanted one of their young, good players, Thon Maker and Malcolm Brogdon. As they saw the market for Bledsoe didn't really develop, they were able to. The Bucks were able to wait the Suns out, get them to lower their asking price, get a first-round pick and a second-round pick, and Greg Monroe. So this is a trade for Milwaukee where they get a versatile perimeter player who can play multiple positions, fit alongside their other guys like Giannis Antetokounmpo, Chris Middleton, Jabari Parker when he comes back, and Brogdon. Really an impactful player to trade him for a guy who's not one of their core players. So a good move to make the Bucks, who are off to a bit of a shaky start, better today. Now, the key here is this is going to cost them more money long term, and they give up their first-round pick for next year, which is not insignificant. But the Bucks got better today and got more competitive in an Eastern Conference that right now, Carrie, we really can't get a judge on where the balance of power is.
Yeah, and you've been high on the Bucks for a while, but then you jumped off the bandwagon. Where are you right now?
Well, I think we got to wait to see what Jabari Parker brings. Jabari has been terrific from what I'm told in workouts. He's torn the same ACL twice, and so because of that, they don't want to bring him back until around the All-Star break. They're going to protect him. But we're going to see the best out of the Bucks in the second half of the year. They've only had their full lineup together for a handful of games with Middleton, Parker, and Giannis. So you had a guy like Bledsoe who plays both ends of the court, can play both guard positions. You have a team here where you can flex, where you may have Giannis at center on one end and be surrounded by 3 or 4 really good perimeter players at the other. So they definitely upgraded in talent here, and they were able to do it for more their price than what Phoenix's price was at the start of this.
All right, I really appreciate you joining us, giving us the latest, and that maybe we'll hear from you a little later. I know you got a story on LBJ and Jordan. We'll talk about that comparison. Anyway, leave it there. Let's talk about ESPN Cavs reporter Dave McMenamin emoting from Cavs practice today. Talk to me about what's going on there. I know that we were talking about LeBron and his social media posts. What do you have on that?
Well, LeBron was not at shoot-around this morning. He was excused by the team to take care of a family matter. Some people are on Twitter saying, oh, this has something to do with that Arthur Fist that he put on Instagram, saying it's something to do with his mood. There's no correlation between the two. I've spoken to multiple sources that confirmed it's just a family matter. He's taken care of. He's going to be at the game tonight, play against the Bucks. So whatever was kind of grinding his gears last night, that's not carrying over today, and it's not like he's trying to make any sort of issue bigger than what it was.
All right, so this morning things got a little bit better from my understanding in terms of LeBron and some of the players and their attitudes. I know you said he wasn't at practice, but do you feel as if there's anything to worry about? What are you hearing from the players?
Well, Carrie, what we have to worry about when we watch this Cavs team is the inconsistent play. J.R. Smith was asked point blank at today's shoot-around, are you guys going into every game with the mentality that that game matters? And he said, no, we don't. That's something we still have to gain. That's not something you want to hear. This is the second highest payroll in basketball at around $137 million. It's a team full of professionals that many have won championships or played in all-star games or been to the NBA Finals. And for them to show up and not be able to get their act together, particularly to start games, the way they've been falling behind in the first quarter of games is, as Ty Lue phrased it yesterday, embarrassing. And basically, until this team feels like it's fed up of getting embarrassed, I doubt we're going to see much of progress from the Cavs.
With LeBron's activity on social media last night. What did you make of it?
Honestly, this is the first time I can honestly say I didn't see it. I didn't see it on social media. What happened?
Go ahead.
He posted a photo of a fist with just mood, ... a cartoon fist.
Was he angry or something?
That's what the speculation is. It was about 5 minutes after the Celtics beat the Hawks.
Oh. Well, I can see that. I can see that.
We've already seen some weird losses, as J.R. Smith went on to say, around the league. He said that it's just really been a haywire early start to the season. You've seen Golden State drop games that they don't typically lose, the San Antonio Spurs in that group, and, of course, the Cavs. Something to do with it could be the fact that it was a shortened training camp because they're trying to give teams more time in between games in the regular season. For an older team like the Cavs that might need some extra time to get back into shape, that shortened training camp may be carrying over to the early part of this season.
All right, Dave McMenamin, thank you so much for giving us the latest. We appreciate it.
Obviously, in the division, it's a big game. It'll be a big one every time we go to Green Bay. It's tough.
Here, look, Brett Hundley needs the rest of the football team to really support him. He's not one of those guys who's more comfortable in the pocket. He needs to be more time going here because without it, look, he can't do it the same way Aaron do it. Obviously, he's not one of those guys who can make everyone else around him better. And if the rest of the 52 guys on the roster don't pick up some steam here, look, the Packers season is going to be over. Brett needs to get more comfortable in the pocket. He needs to be more on time, more in rhythm with his wide receivers, which is only going to come with more practice time because he doesn't play with these guys very often. The pass protection is going to have to improve. The run-pass ratio balance is going to have to improve. And defensively, they're going to have to start getting some stops, David. They're going to have to start getting off the field so this kid has more time to be out on the football field so he can kind of play his way into being a little bit more comfortable. Unless all those things happen, the season's going to continue to spiral downhill because when you go up against teams like the Detroit Lions and you have a quarterback like Matthew Stafford, well, they're going to ring up some points on you. They just are. This defense is suspect anyway. So he doesn't have the luxury right now of being able to or having to carry this football team. He can't carry the football team. So everyone else is going to have to pick it up because right now, look, you saw last night what will happen to the Green Bay Packers without Aaron Rodgers. Their comfort, their security blanket is not there anymore. And that's why I think Detroit, to kind of spin it forward to them, I think they're about to go on a little bit of a run here and win this division.
Now they're 2 games back, and the Vikings at this point. Why do you say that?
Well, I think it's the path of least resistance. Their schedule is much easier than Minnesota's. Minnesota has, I believe, 4 of the next 5 on the road. Detroit gets Minnesota at home, and their strength of their schedule is a lot less than what Minnesota faces going forward here. And I think the difference is going to be this: Matthew Stafford or Case Keenum. Which one would you want?
Yes.
And I like Case Keenum because I like him because he's going to be available for Minnesota, and you don't know if Sam Bradford will be. But Matthew's he's in a zone right now. He's throwing the ball as good as anybody in the National Football League. As long as Amir Abdullah does not fumble the football, I think they'll have a competent enough running game. And defensively, they're very opportunistic, as you saw last night. They will turn the ball over. They can get off the field on 3rd down. So I think right now, I think they're going to catch Minnesota. I know a lot of people up there in Viking land don't like to hear that, but I think they're going to catch them. And I think a big reason is for that $27 million a year quarterback that they're paying up there.
And Lions beat the Vikings earlier in the year, so they got that going for them as well. All right, we're talking about quarterbacks in the NFC North and how important they are. Let's go to the situation in Indy. Tony Dungy on Dan Patrick's show said owner Jim Irsay believes that what's keeping Andrew Luck on the field is more mental than physical, said it's in his head. As a competitor, when you hear that about mental over physical with a throwing shoulder, what do you think?
I think there's probably some validity to it because no matter what injury you're coming back from, that is always the last hurdle to clear for you. It is the mental part of it, believing that structurally you're okay, that you're not going to re-injure yourself, and any kind of pain, anything that sets you back in any way from the trajectory you're on as far as rehabbing can really start to mess with you mentally, and you start to think, am I re-injuring it? Am I not the same as I used to be? And it can really start messing with your psyche. I just think it's very dangerous, though, for someone else who's not in your shoes to start to try and get inside your head and then start expressing that publicly to people.
This is your franchise.
That's right, because now you're moving on to the next phase of this issue here, which is relationships between a franchise quarterback who you obviously have invested a lot of money into, and you're violating some trust here. You absolutely are. So now that's going to add another layer of a mental hurdle for Andrew to kind of overcome here, because now he's going, now is the owner actually sitting here talking about me behind my back? Maybe it is inside my head a little bit, and we all know that. We all need to be sensitive to that. But don't start expressing that to other people. And now that it's gotten out there, now when you walk in the building and you see this guy, look, I'm telling you, relationships, I talk about this all the time here. Every time we talk about team building and really what separates good teams from great teams and great teams from championship teams, it's these kind of relationships. That's not the kind of thing Jim Irsay wants to start rolling here as far as valuing the trust of someone who you paid a lot of money to.
Right. After this year, 4 years and $82 million left on that Andrew Luck contract. Lou Riddick here talking us through it here on Coast to Coast.
All right, David, thank you for that. Some say he is the best rookie the Yankees have drafted in years. Some say he's a little like Derek Jeter. I just say he's coming up next on Coast to Coast. Aaron Judge being interviewed by